Unless you're living in California, to which I would ask, why? You probably haven't heard about this because I believe that this is trying to be kept as much out of the public eye as possible for what will be very obvious reasons. In California, the state legislature has, and I believe that this is how it's working, I could be wrong on this, has voted and passed an amendment that needs to go to the public vote in November, where if that passes, and it's a thing proposed by Democrats, so it's gonna, they would repeal Proposition 209, which was put forth about 1996, give or take. Now, what Proposition 209 it's the anti-discrimination laws. California has effectively the same federal level anti-discrimination law, because I think that a large part of the way this works is the federal law is more of, it controls companies that are across the country or meeting a certain size standard, whereas state levels handle state-specific businesses, organizations, universities, etc., or things that don't meet that size requirement. Again, I believe, because it's this weird thing in America where, weed is federally illegal, but in a lot of states now it is completely legal, and you will not get in trouble on the state level or the federal level for smoking it in states where it is legal. So I think that this is another one of those, it's more a guideline kind of thing than something that is, or set for things that are of a certain size, rather than this is the law by which every single state adheres to. I think, because I'm pretty sure that we're going to see lawsuits involving this, and that's going to determine if this can actually happen or not. So, I'm pretty sure that a question that's running through your head is, why the fuck is California repealing their anti-discrimination law? The reason for this, as stated by the Democrats themselves, is that they can't discriminate in favor of people because of this. And that's what this boils down to. Anti-discrimination is the new discrimination, because it stops them from discriminating in favor of minorities or other such oppressed groups. Welcome to the new age, same as the old age, just flipped around. I don't see how this makes any fucking sense. We're going to fight racism by being racist in the other direction. It's that. It really is. Again, I don't see why this is a good idea. It is, another part is they want to, I believe, and again I could be wrong, based on the wording of this, they want to be able to pass an affirmative action bill, which they can't, so they need to get rid of this so that they can do that. Because affirmative action is effectively discrimination in favor of such and such group, which is illegal based on anti-discrimination bills. Again, I could be wrong on that, but based on the fact that the bill itself says as much, I'm going to link to a listing of what the bill is, how it works, what people have said about it, for and against, and I want you to read that yourself to see if I am misreading or mischaracterizing something, because I don't think I am. I've spent a good amount of time trying to understand this, and from everything I can understand, it is a removal of anti-discrimination law to then try and put forth a affirmative action bill, which, by the by, I would suggest also looking up an archive or a wayback of this site that I'm going to be showing, because there was also a comment from another state-level congressperson or senator, I'm not sure which, and it was, oh, well, obviously affirmative action is good. I'm a product of that. I would not be where I am at right now if not for affirmative action. Strangely, that comment seems to have been deleted. Weird that a system that has a quota, so they're basically putting you in there because they have to, would not be seen as something you want to tout when you are a state-level legislator. Odd that, huh? There's already precedent that this would be used as well. Beyond schools. Oregon, which again, I'm going to have a link to an article talking about this, and I'm using CNN so that nobody can say, oh, I'm using a biased, conservative, or centrist, or whatever news site. I am using one of the news sites as far left as I can, and they can't even justify this. At best, all they can do is repeat the justification that the bill itself had. In Oregon, in Jefferson County, I believe it is, there is a new mandatory face mask law for everyone. Everyone except non-white people. If you, well, and minorities and people with disabilities. But they specifically first mention non-white people. Why? Well, the justification that this bill gives is, and this is what blows my mind here. See, disabilities, I get. Minors, I get. The justification for non-white people not having to wear masks when white people have to is racial profiling. How the fuck does that work? I'm actually serious. How does racial profiling come into wearing masks? The thing that I'm thinking, feel free to disagree with me on this and point out what it is if it's different. That seems to me like, okay, if a black person wears a mask, they are assumed to be robbing something. Ergo, they don't have to wear masks. Maybe I'm the weird one here, but if I see people wearing masks in a bank, I don't care what color they are, I assume they're robbing the bank. Before COVID, if I saw a person wearing a mask into a store, I didn't give a shit what color they were, I assumed they were going to rob it. That's not a racial profiling thing, that's a masks make you look like a robber thing. Which these masks aren't. They're medical masks. They're not the ski masks or the bandanas that people normally wore to rob places. So I'm extremely confused here. But you have a place like Oregon that's already done this because, again, I'm going to be shocked if this isn't brought up to the courts. But I assume that Oregon doesn't have an anti-discrimination bill on the state level, ergo, it's okay to do this. Or if you find just enough justification, i.e. the racial profiling excuse, then you can do this. Which, once more, I assume is going to be taken to courts. I assume this is going to be fought. I assume in the next couple of years we're going to see rather interesting Supreme Court decisions. That's gonna. So I guess left is hoping Ruth Bader Ginsburg holds out for a while, and Biden wins. I don't believe that discriminating in favor of someone helps anything. In the very, very short term, yeah, it might help that person. That's it. What you're going to end up doing long term is you're going to create an entire generation who resents that this is happening. You're effectively going to create a generation of people who are racist against the groups that are being discriminated in favor of, because you're effectively setting a tier system based on race, and that leads to resentment. Why should this person get this free stuff or this assistance for the happenstance of birth that they have that I did not have? That's why it's bad when white people do it, i.e. segregation and Jim Crow laws, but it's okay when it happens in favor of black people against white people. And it's not just white people, by the way. Another group that is heavily against this, that it is absolutely going to affect, is Asians. Because a good chunk of why they are repealing this is the Harvard case that happened. Harvard was sued because they were discriminating against Asian people in their point system, because Asians are generally perceived as smarter than other racial groups. Ergo, they have to disadvantage them to even the field, so to speak. And that was a lawsuit that actually ended up losing. So Harvard can still discriminate based on race, if I remember that lawsuit correctly. So that's what they are wanting to do here. That's what they even fucking say in the goddamn bill, or amendment, that they want to be able to discriminate based on race for the purposes of university. That's going to piss off Asian people more than anything else. Asian folks work hard. They study hard. I don't know if that's a racial thing, a cultural thing, a stereotype that we have attributed to them. I don't know exactly where the line is. All I know is they work very, very hard to get really high grades to get into universities, and you're basically saying, well, that's not fair to black people, so you are disadvantaging them for the happenstance of being Asian, so that more black or Latino people can get into universities, because we got a quota system to meet, don't you know? I can guarantee you Asian people are going to be extremely pissed off at this if this happens in California. To the link that I'm going to give for this amendment, to its credit, they do list the arguments of several groups and organizations that are against it, and one of them is, like I just said, several Asian representation groups who realize they're going to get fucked if this thing is removed. Which kind of goes to an idea I have that the black people are the perceived most wronged minority group right now. It used to be Native Americans back in the 70s, 80s. It's black people right now. Who's to say it's not going to change later on? It could be the Latinos' turn. It could be, we could circle back to Asians again. We might start feeling guilty about the railroad system after a while. I don't know. That's the point, is that these things tend to change, and it kind of sucks when you're not the one at top. Look, I don't believe in racism. I don't believe in judging someone based on their happenstance of birth. I don't care what color you are. I care about who you as a person are and what you do. That doesn't seem to be the Democrat way of going about it anymore. Not even 20 years ago, this was the Democrats' philosophy. They were the big anti-discrimination people. Now, they've they've kind of Yui'd it. They've done a full 180. They're absolutely in favor of discrimination, so long as they can discriminate for the oppressed group of the moment. Which, again, I would like to throw out the warning: if black people think that's going to be them forever, they're in for a very rude awakening. Ask Native Americans once again. I really don't like the idea of judging someone based on their skin color. I don't know why Democrats think this is a good idea, and ironically, it's the Republicans that are fighting to preserve anti-discrimination. Because, let me tell you this as well. If you think that allowing for discrimination is automatically going to make everyone discriminate in favor of the group you want them to, you're in for a very rude awakening. There are going to be people that are absolutely going to discriminate against the people you're trying to promote, and they can because you have given them the ammunition they need. You have removed making it illegal to discriminate. So they will discriminate, if not from black people, then from transgender people, from women, from other minority groups, what have you. There will be people, there will be groups that absolutely can and will if you remove something that makes it illegal for them to. I say this about a lot of things, but it really holds true here. They did not think this one through. This is a feel-good thing in the moment that will have long-lasting repercussions down the line. Again, I am absolutely certain we're going to see several Supreme Court cases in the next 2-3 years based around this. I really hope that the Democrats don't do this. I guess the Democrats already have, so I hope that people aren't stupid enough to follow along with this. I hope that the Democrats can also fix themselves and realize, trying to fix racism by being racist is not the way to go, but I think I'm asking too much there. I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore, and it's so weird. I'm just so confused by it all, and it just is insane. Again, tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm misunderstanding this in any level, because I'm not sure how else to interpret this myself. I'm afraid that this is going to bring about a new generation of racists, of people that are upset that a group was given advantages for the happenstance of birth. It's unfair when it happens against black people. And the black people that grew up during segregation, for example, had every right to be pissed off that they grew up during segregation. I understand why they don't like white people if they're from that era, because, oh yeah, they were fucked. So now why do you want to do that to white people to then piss them off, to then grow up and hate black people? Blows my fucking mind. This has been Math Machine saying the controversial statement that racism and segregation are bad. How do I get away with saying something so stunning yet so brave? Peace out.